So she was looking for a house a year and a half ago, first time home buyer. She qualified for a mortgage. Let's just call it $1,200 a month. Okay. And she ended up, she could have potentially at the time purchased a house, that would have resulted in a $1,200 mortgage. Obviously, it would have been a lower price point, but it still would have been a house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, a yard, and all that good stuff. She was really stuck on a monthly payment of about $1,000 a month, right? There was just something about $1,000 a month. That's how much she was paying for rent. She didn't want to pay more for rent. And she said, hey, I don't want to pay more than that. So our only option was to look at townhouses. To be at that mortgage, unless you're putting a lot of money down, you're not going to be able to buy a house for that price. $1,000 a month, it's just not going to happen. So we found her a great townhouse. It worked, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. I mean, it was a cool little townhouse for her. It worked at the time. Fast forward, a year and a half later, she wants to buy. She's like, hey, I got a dog now. And I want to have a yard for my dog to run in. And, I want to sell my house and I want to buy something else, right? Even though it's only been about a year and a half since she bought her townhouse, she could probably walk away with about 12 grand profit, which is great. I mean, to walk away with that much money in such a short amount of time, she pretty much made money every month she was in her house. Unfortunately, she kind of started messing around with her credit. Late payment here, late payment there. Utilization went up on her credit cards, and she no longer qualifies for a mortgage. She's got to wait so some of these late payments start falling off, and she's got to really work on her credit. Her credit's dropped pretty significantly since when she bought her house. So the biggest lesson that I would take away from that is, had she just been okay with an extra $200, right, an extra $200 a month, one or two less times going out to dinner, it would have made a big difference on her buying experience. It would have opened up a lot more options for her. And I know, if you're on a fixed income, $200, it's a lot of money. I get that. I'm not saying that that's an easy thing to do, but when you think about you're going to be living in this house for 5-10 years possibly, think about that when you're making your decision on the purchase price that you're looking at. If 20 grand is about $100 more a month, and let's say your monthly your budget per month was, I don't know, we were looking at $1,500 a month, right? But you see that one house that has everything you want, and instead of it being, I don't know, 250, it's 270, and it's only an extra $100 a month. It's absolutely worth it, because then you're going to have everything you want, and you're not going to be stuck selling in a couple years down the road. You're not going to be stuck selling or in a house that you're not going to love, right? So just kind of, if you're a cash buyer, that's a different story. If you're a cash buyer, 40 grand is 40 grand, 20 grand is 20 grand. But you got to think about it, monthly payments. Monthly payments at the end of the day is, how you're going to pay your mortgage. And as long as you're comfortable with the monthly payment, if you can see the vision, you can see, this is my house. It's absolutely worth it to expand your budget a bit. I could attest to that myself. When I purchased my first house, I had a specific budget that I was trying to stay in line with, and we sold after 22 months because of that. I'm using myself as an example on this one. I was thinking about buying a house. My wife and I, we were like, oh, this is what we want to stay at. We didn't buy in the area that we wanted to buy. We were 20 minutes away from my son's school, 20 minutes away from a babysitter, which is Isaiah's, Nils's mom. She was watching Zeneda at the time, and we couldn't hold out. We had to wait. We sold after 22 months because we were trying to save some money, where if we would have probably spent those extra $200, extra $300 a month, we would have got a great house at the time. And unfortunately, we were forced to sell quicker. We didn't make as much money as we wanted to. And then, when we bought our second home, we took on probably double of what our mortgage was had we just not gone with it the first time. So that applies to if you're looking at houses that need some updates. If you're kind of looking at houses, prices on houses, for the most part, if they're listed by a good agent, which sometimes they aren't, but for the most part, they're going to be priced according to the condition of the house. Okay, so the house is listed at $270,000 and it needs some work. That's because it needs some work. If it was upgraded and remodeled, that'd be a $290,000, $300,000 house. Taking into account that $100 a month for every 20 grand, okay, if this $300,000 house has everything you want, it's upgraded, granite countertops and flooring, and this $270,000 house is going to need a bunch of work, there's about $160 difference between those two price points. And one of those, you're going to have to pay that out of pocket. You're going to have to do that work. You're going to have to spend the time and the energy to do it. And the other one, it's already there. It's already priced into the house. If you're not an investor, which I would say 90% of the time clients are buying as their own primary residence. They're not buying to flip the house. If you're buying to be in the house and enjoy it and live it, then take the option that's going to be available for you, move-in ready for you if you have that option available. If you're able to increase your price range to be in a comfortable home that you're going to be able to afford, but also have some of the updates that you've been looking for. Okay. So hopefully this breakdown kind of gives you an idea of how you're potentially going to qualify for a house. And I should have made two different videos because the whole, increasing your purchase price versus, that's two different videos. But at the end of the day, break it up and watch it in two different sessions. You got the one session talking about how to break down your debt to income ratios and how that ends up being, how your numbers are worked out, sort of. Still got to get your application submitted to actually get your numbers ironed out. And then also, hopefully, going over the difference that 20 grand makes on your monthly payment, and in the stories that I went through, and this unfortunate story that my client is going through. Hopefully, that helps you make a better decision when you're out there looking for your house. And I know that there's a mental block when you have a certain number in mind that you want to spend. But I mean, let's be honest. Me and my kids and my wife, we go out to eat, and then we end up spending about what we would end up spending, that extra $100 a month on that one house that we wanted. All right, guys. So take that information, run with it, share this video with anybody that you guys know that's thinking about buying or selling a house, and hopefully we can get them into a house this year. Thank you, and have a great rest of your Thursday.